so hopefully you're in the right place. This is for getting into voice acting in the My Little Pony community and possibly other things on the internet. I'm Rena Chen.
I'm Tyler Parcel, I guess. Yes.
And I am DJ Shamrock.
And that's Rainbow Dash.
And that's Rainbow Dash. All over first.
Which one's the real Rainbow Dash?
Yes. I don't know.
Yes. What's going on? One gets to be real.
There's a 50% chance.
Is one younger and the other one older?
You what?
One of them's a changeling. It's not blushing. We should probably tell them dressed up on who we did.
Yes, let's do that.
Why don't you go ahead?
Okay, so I guess you guys would probably know me from, I do Twilight in the Pony.Moog series. I do Twilight in Double Rain Boom. I do Colgate and most stuff that has Colgate in it. I did some songs like Lost on the Moon, because I'm high. If any of you got the new Rainbow and Rooted album, I did Fluttershy.
I am on the News Ponies project. If you guys know what that is, awesome. If not, it's going to be a new pony series that's coming out. Original, it's pretty sweet. I'm Sports Night in there, and I'm also going to be in the next video that comes out for Friendship is Witchcraft. So, look out for it at some point.
I'll find it.
I'm also in News Ponies. It's a Midnight Magic production thing, which both News Ponies and Vinyl Scratch Tapes are. I voice Rocky Woolworth in News Ponies, and I'm the narrator for Vinyl Scratch Tapes, as well as the narrator for Shipping and Handling. And song-wise, for the Legends of Equestria folks that were listening to that, I do the vocals for the Spin That Record Vinyl Scratch, which is in that, as well as other songs.
Okay, so we want to know what you guys want to see, what you want to learn about, if you have any questions for us. So I think the easiest way to start would be to kind of take a couple of questions and see what you guys are interested in. Maybe you want to know about how to sound like a certain pony, maybe you want to know about how to market yourself for projects, what kind of equipment you need. Just, what do you guys want to hear about us now? Okay, you're enthusiastic.
Yes. I'm enthusiastic about everything. Except for me.
That's good.
Anyway, I was going to ask, I am on a very limited budget, and I really want to get a decent microphone. It doesn't have to be top of the line, but just something that won't be horribly tinny and that I can sing into without, sing and record. I want to do a vocal aspect.
What is your budget?
I don't know precisely what it is. It's very small.
What are you willing to spend? That's what
Yeah, that's
Around maybe $60.
So I was like, if you want to go for 70, you could get a Samson CO1U or a Blue Snowball or pretty much like any USB condenser. Whatever you do, I would recommend USB because otherwise it plugs into your computer sound card and it has this nasty like static and hiss in the background. And like the other really expensive kind you have to get a preamp for. So I mean, I use a USB condenser. It's AT2020. It's super easy, plugs right into your computer. I don't recommend a headset because it really limits you when you're doing yelling lines. So if possible, I'd say try to go with something that stands on your desk or that you can put on a stand. But I know Best Buy, because I was there recently, sells the Snowball and the Yeti and
Actually, there's an independent music store I'm going to hit up called Rock and Robin on South Shore.
Yeah, check that out too. You can even check like eBay, Amazon, places like that. Just look for the best deal.
I am going to need something that doesn't really mean, not necessarily gaming, but my OC, but he's a heavy metal front man, so.
Yeah, so definitely if you're going to be doing like screaming vocals and stuff like that, you want to get something that can withstand it. You also want to make sure that you're turning your input volume down. Like I know like the setup I have, I have to turn the volume down really, really low, and my last one's like I could put the input volume all the way up and it would still, I'd have to maximize it so much. And with this one, it's like, doing a screaming line? Sorry, you're screwed. Just try not to, when you're looking at your waveform, which is like the thing that you record, you don't want it to be like maxing out at the top, because that's what makes it
Clipping is bad.
Yeah, peaking, clipping, you don't want any of that. And also, get a pop filter. If you're going to do screaming or anything, and even so, you'll probably back up from the microphone to do all of your screaming things, even with the input volume turned
Pop
down.
filter's a like little round thing.
Yeah, it should be a little round thing that looks like somebody stuck pantyhose on top of
you
it.
get a-
If
you
you're
get a
really
sock,
poor,
too.
you can use
Yeah.
a sock or
I
pantyhose.
would do that.
Yeah, anything fabric should be just fine.
Questions?
When you first encounter a new voice test that you want to try to do, how do you go about analyzing it and dissecting it and making it into your voice?
That depends, first of all, if it's a character that has a canon voice or not. If it's a character that has a canon voice, like, one of the main six, for example, or some of the other characters in the show, usually what I do is I listen to a bunch of voice quotes from them. I listen to, or I watch a couple of episodes again that they were in, like, I know for Twilight, before I was always doing like the "Hi, I'm Twilight Sparkle" kind of lines, and then when I was doing Magic.move, when Twilight was kind of going insane, I really wanted to make sure that I stayed true to her character and voice when doing that, so I went and watched Lesson Zero again. I just wanted to make sure I got Twilight's kind of crazy side. So you can also do because I know I have a really hard time voice matching for Luna. It's just not in my voice. I know I like doing Luna, but I can't. So what I do is just look for best of Luna, or I watch the Luna Eclipsed, or for Trixie, I'll watch the Trixie episodes and just say the line after them and just try to match them inflection. Because then if you're doing your own lines, you can kind of, I don't know, that's how I taught myself to kind of voice match the characters with canon voices. If it's a background pony, I would say just maybe read some fan fiction, kind of get what the personality is that the fandom kind of generally agrees on, but you can throw some of your own elements in there. When I started doing Colgate, what I thought of for her was, everyone says she's this cute little pony who loves to brush her teeth, and she's an adorable tiny little pony, so that's why I kind of gave her a high voice and things like that. It's kind of up to interpretation, but I also read some fan fiction and things like that. So you can be a lot more creative if you're voicing characters that don't have a canon voice. But voice matching is also a good way to expand your range. Learn to do accents, I learned a southern accent from Applejack, I'm not gonna lie.
And if you're doing anything that is an OC of someone else's, or from a blog or whatever, get as much information as you can from their attitudes in said blog or whatever you're getting it from, because if they have an idea for it, you want to fit it as much as possible. But if they only give you, or if they are looking for auditions but they only give you lines, analyze the lines and look and see what they're, how you feel this character can speak. And if you can't decide on something, give them the lines, maybe they'll have 3 lines. Give them 2 or maybe even 3 different voices, just reading those lines quickly.
This guy sends me 10 takes of each line, just saying.
Oh my goodness. I'm not the worst though. Some people have sent me lines that are 30 minutes long. Those are fun.
Yeah, but don't be afraid to do a few different takes if you're not quite sure what the emphasis is on the line.
Yeah.
And I would say if you're doing, a lot of times, if you're doing stuff for auditions, because, most do good, radio plays, or whether it's, whatever you might be auditioning for, if you want to get into it, they'll probably have, the lines that you have to read, and they usually already have some good idea of what the personality is supposed to be about. Now, News Ponies was a little bit different because it was just created when they were doing the auditions. So the characters were still sort of undeveloped. So sometimes you have the opportunity to really put your own spin on it, and look at the lines and say, okay, what's the emotion that they're putting out of it? Because it is voice acting. So try to get an idea for what they're trying to signify or feel in that line, and then sort of voice it out as yourself first, and get the emotion right first, and then after that start tweaking it a little bit, develop a little more of a personality in the character, and then after that, pretty soon you've already got a voice that's totally different from the one you're using normally. So that's sort of how you set yourself apart. If you put a spin on an accent on it, or whatever, the original creators didn't necessarily intend it that way, but sometimes they're like, oh, I never thought of it like that. This voice could actually really work well. That happened a lot in this movie, I think.
Yeah,
For some people.
actually.
Yeah.
I get a lot of, Coda was asking me to like redo sports. I was like, do that a little bit higher and then like do this one again or whatever, because, you know, just other people were sending in so many different takes and I wanted to get it just right. So, act first, tweak your voice later.
Yeah, acting is the most important thing, and I will get more to that later. But so you can do a million cool voices if your characters are cool.
Yeah, they're too much.
You, because you're. Okay.
So I was watching John Delancey, I think it was a BronyCon last year, he was talking about aspiring actors, and one of the things he mentioned was you have to do your own projects. He said people love to see you doing your own projects. So my question to you is, what really qualifies as your own project? Is it just you with some of your friends around with a video camera? I mean, what level of, I suppose, finesse qualifies as a personal project that you would demo to other people?
Well, you could say Ego Raptor, for example. I don't know if he's done official work in studios, but how he has gotten parts in other things other than his own Flash animations was through his animations. And he did a lot of cool things, and through his humor and other, he got known through that. But if you're doing your own things, don't just take like comic dubs. Those are good for practice, like dubbing over whatever you find on the internet, but you can't use that for a demo. It's good practice, but not for a demo. So see if you can find any indie games or something like that on any sort of forum, like what is it? I can't remember the name. Voice Acting Alliance. Yeah, Voice Acting Club and Voice Acting Alliance are good places to go to. See what projects people are starting on, make a demo for their character, and see what they're like. And as you build a demo reel through the parts that you do get for things that are original, that's how you get it.
But if you're not, like, from what I got from your question, you're understanding, or you're asking more about creating your own stuff, right? It depends, like if you have another skill, like if you can draw, if you can animate, if you can make music, those are all things that can be combined with it. Or you can get other people, if you have friends who do those things. I can't draw or animate at all, but I like to write. So what I did for the Colgate series was I have my friend Jacob animate it, and I write the scripts, and he helps me edit the scripts and be like, I think this joke would work better here, or can we change this line to this, or whatever. And we just kind of work together on that, and that's a good way to do it too. Just do fun stuff. Like if you have Tumblr, if you have Twitter, you can do vocal twit, which is what Tara Strong uses. So that's pretty fun. Like, I mean, I do like Homestuck stuff with him and my other friends all the time on Tumblr. Just like for the fun of it, be like, here, let's try out these voices. Because the worst that can really happen is someone's like, I don't like your voice for this character. Okay.
First of all, Ted Wilson.
Don't.
It's okay.
It's fine.
We're a chill, fun panel.
The second part of the question was, what was your favourite emotional performance in, say, Fandom community? It could be of your own works or others.
In what community?
In the fandom of the Brony community. It could be your own, what emotional performance inspired you to what you did.
Well, I would say nothing from any other fandom. Like, believe it or not, Kira Richan is like a big inspiration for me. When I watched her on Newgrounds all the time and watching her other stuff like evolve from Newgrounds and get other parts, like I was like, whoa, she is making it out there. And that was something that inspired me to keep going all of her different performances. Go watch everything that she's done as of recent and such.
I would say a lot of the performances overall in My Little Pony Friendship with Magic are really, really good. One of the reasons is that the voice actors get to record for their characters beforehand instead of having to dub the lines from a different language. So I think that really lets them have more creativity and more freedom with how they deliver the lines. And I think every time that a character learns some kind of important lesson or the moral, and you see that character grow, those kind of performances are what really motivate me.
I came from radio, so there isn't really much of a I was already doing work that, you know, was sort of basic related. And I got into narration first, I guess. And, you know, it was just sort of an easy move over. It was like, oh, I'd like to be involved in projects, you know. And then from there, from narration, then you can kind of start to move over to other roles because you're working with all the same kind of voice acting and stuff. So,
And also, it popped into my head just now, there is someone else. There's a blog called The Tales of the Wild Card. Oh my goodness, the stories that he writes, I know him, and he also was like, when I was in a bog about like maybe half a year ago or something like that, not feeling any inspiration, I went back and listened to all his stuff. Radio play stuff is the best, like in terms of acting, because you don't have to fit as many like animations, you can do whatever, like inflections, it's beautiful. So check that out.
radio plays are great.
For a very, very long time, I've been trying to get into voice acting within the Pony community and whatnot. And whenever there's a chance for me to audition, I tried to audition and do it the best I possibly can. I mean, I got Blue Snowball, professional recording studio. My computer is in the middle of my hallway, so I have to put up this huge, whatever. But sometimes it just feels like it's not enough. And like I have my YouTube channel where I do my videos and that. But it just feels like it's not enough to actually, I'm not doing enough. What else could help me do it? I'll just try audition with people, put it out, and make YouTube video.
One of the big disadvantages that you have as a male wanting to voice act in the Brony community is there's simply not as many guy ponies. So those roles get really, really competitive because there's a lot of guys in the fandom, but not a whole lot of ponies that they can voice. You know, if you notice someone puts out a casting call for like Big Mac or Flim and Flam, everyone jumps on that. I did a script reading panel at Equestria LA, and we had a part for Shining Armor, and everyone jumped on that for the volunteer reading. So, I mean, that's definitely a factor. So you could try expounding, like if you're interested in other fandoms, other shows, you can try doing some stuff from there. Like I know it's kind of the opposite in the Homestuck community. There's a bunch of girls who like to voice act, and not as many guys. So there's, you know, it's kind of reversed. But yeah, it's like, I don't know, just find what interests you. You can also do your own stuff. You can just play around, like you said, you did dramatic readings, so that's a good start. Don't be afraid to contact people that you want to work with and just say, hey, I really like your work. Here's my demo. Here's some of the stuff I've done. Let me know if you have any openings. Because that's what I did for a lot of the animators that I want to work with. I just send them a message on YouTube or on email or whatever and say, hey, I'd really like to voice act for you, and here's some more information. Like, you got to show them what you sound like, or they're not going to cast you. But you know, sometimes they say no, but if 1 out of 10 people says yes, then that's another cool thing you get to do.
I would say this for most things in life, networking is huge. A little bit of what Rena said, but also network with, you know, the folks that are already involved on other projects that do voice acting stuff, because I can say personally that there's a lot of times when radio play projects or maybe other projects as well, they will need to introduce other side characters or other characters that are outside of the main casting call, and usually they'll try and just cover them in-house with all the people that are already on the project. But sometimes you can, you know, if it's a more minor character, sometimes we can be like, oh hey, I know someone that's been, you know, looking to try and get into, you know, this thing, would you listen to their audition? You know, so it's stuff like that that's not publicized, but there are parts that are added, you know, later on. So there's always more parts going on in the show than the original casting was. So don't make it first, you know, on a first roll on auditions. You know, you can still get in contact with people who did and be like, hey, you know, next time you hear the producer's looking for more parts, you know, let me know. So.
And definitely don't just stick to voicing and acting like in the fandom. Also improve your skills elsewhere and then come back to it and see if, you know, you improve. Because if you get stuck in just one fandom's voices, if, you know, it grows old and you want to go somewhere else, you know, you'll be stuck on those, and that would be troublesome.
Yeah, just make sure you get your fundamentals down. If you just focus on, oh, I want to sound like these specific characters, but you're not really working on your technique, working on your acting, that's the kind of thing that will slow you down. But if you learn those skills, it carries over when you do other characters.
Snapchat.
I actually, for the longest time, I was a singer, and that's how someone came to me and said, would you be the instructional narration for an instructional video? It's for computer programming, and I have lost so many tapes to stuttering, and I don't know how to fix that exactly. And I can tell it hurts the producers every time I've been talking for like 5 minutes, and then I'll just, they'll be like, do it again.
Well, that's the thing. My roommate stutters, and he used to be terrible. Like, he couldn't say 3 words without stuttering. Is what he's told me, and he does it all the time. But he went to a lot of different classes and things like that to help with the stutter. I don't know how often you do it. You sound okay.
Oh no, just like saying the beginning of a word twice.
Oh well, I mean, that's just fine as long as you can work past it and practice beforehand. If they give you the script beforehand or anything like that, then just try your best. That's just something you can't help sometimes. So, but don't let it bug you down.
All right.
From a practical point, personally, one thing I found, it's pretty easy to figure out which words are going to cause you trouble and just abort the beginnings of the word. Worst case scenario, you sound cocky. It's horrible.
Somebody else calling out because I'm calling all the time.
The pollution.
I have a response to your thing about the girls just doing voices, because I do voices of some girls.
Oh my goodness. That is incredible. Incredible. I wish that I could do things like that. Super high and like super low. I'm right smack dab in the middle, so that's cool. But I mean, if you can convince people with your acting as well to like get Fluttershy parts, by all means. Prove them wrong and be like, hey, I can do Fluttershy. And they're like, no, show it and see what you get.
Well, I had a question. How long did it take you to get out there and get big? 'Cause I do a couple indie games, but I've only got like maybe 500,000 views.
That's pretty good, actually. It's a constant process. I would say like the thing that I did where people actually started asking me to voice was actually in 2006 when I did Metal Gear Awesome for Egoraptor as Meryl, because then people were like, oh, who's this chick who does voices, and started messaging me, and from that and a couple other things I got more opportunities. But I mean, you never know what's going to get big, you never know what's going to be like your break, so just keep, like, you have to constantly put yourself out there. I've recorded for literally hundreds of projects that, it's like they never even get finished, or they hit YouTube and they get like 10 views. A lot of my own projects don't get that many views, so it's just kind of, you gotta have fun doing it, consider everything a learning experience, and in the end, it doesn't really matter like how many views it gets if you have fun doing the voice.
What do you guys think about doing adult voices for like any types? I do that.
I personally wouldn't have a problem doing that, but like, I mean, sometimes it can give you a bad rap. Like someone might be like, "Oh my God, you do voices for this? That's so weird." But really, like, I mean, it depends on if you want to do that. Like, if you're doing a paid project or something like that, then I mean, sometimes, like, if you're on the edge, money is money. But
I would say don't put your real name on it. There's a reason that if you look at the credits of a hentai and like Anime News Network or whatever, they all have these really interesting stage names. Like my friend and I were talking about. Because I mean, the other thing too is like, if your grandma decides, hey, I'm gonna look and see what my grandson is up to on the internet. When something is on the internet, it's really hard to take it off. So it's always good to not use it.
Some of my stuff for that's got millions of views. So.
something like that. What is that telling you?
Maybe you found your calling.
I get a lot of responses, so I've got some archives and stuff I'm working with now. So.
Look into that. Maybe that's what you're Okay.
Me, yeah. Okay, give me a second. Oh yeah, I actually have had some correspondence with Wildcard over Tumblr, because I personally brought up to a Shining Armor report series, which I'm very fond of.
Yeah.
And the Drunk Shining Armor,
The streams. Yeah, I've been on those as Blue Blood as well.
Oh, you were Blue Blood?
Yeah, a couple times. The first, there was someone else for Blue Blood for the first, but eventually I came in because he didn't do it a couple times or something like that.
Yeah, I would go into my favorite parts of Blue Blood's lines and that would rank it. My question is, he gave you some advice on how to start, the vocal ask blog and how to kind of pace it and how to work in the story points and everything like that. But that's a little bit too vague a question. Let me narrow it down. How would you go about
Starting a voice ask blog?
No, yeah. How would you go about starting a story that kind of pulls people in to your character?
That depends. If you can't write a story yourself, that's good that you feel. Maybe find someone that you know or anyone that is aspiring to be a writer and see what they can pull up. And sometimes they'll have something good, but usually, it's hard to get something that will catch somebody. So.
Also, look at the ask blogs that you like reading or that you follow and think, what makes this interesting? Why do I follow this person? Because if you see what works for them that's effective, I'm not saying copy them, but it can help you understand, okay, this is interesting because they update every day and so it's consistent, or sorry, maybe they update regularly because, or they, I'm sorry, I need more coffee. This is my second one today.
It's okay.
Coffee princess.
Or maybe it's their voice acting is really good. Tyler and I have a friend who runs a really successful ask blog. It has 11,000 followers or something like that. And it's just his voice acting is so good, it's entertaining. He types as his character, it's just really great. He fully becomes the character. I feel if you're gonna make an ask blog, make an ask blog. Don't put too much out of character stuff on that. Save that for your personal blog. Because I know I follow some art ask blogs, and half the thing is just the mod talking about, oh well, today I did this or that. It's that's cool. Put it on your personal blog.
Yeah, that can clutter
All the way in the back.
I was going to ask y'all, what is y'all's personal ways of dealing with issues in your voice acting, especially when it comes to emoting things? I found I have a real problem with emoting sad or grieving scenes. It just sounds fake when I play it back to myself. How do y'all work through those, areas out of your own comfort zone?
Some of it is practice, and the more you voice those kinds of scenes and emotions, the better you will get at learning to do it, making it sound authentic. I know a lot of people have trouble with crying and laughing because it's easy for those to sound fake. If you've ever listened to some video on YouTube and somebody's it's no, that's not good. The really good performances are where you can actually make yourself cry when doing the lines. And part of how, at least how I get to that point, is trying to get in the mind of my character. Because, for example, say you have the scene where, Celestia is telling Twilight, you have a lot to think about, and she's sitting there and realizing no one supports me, my friends, my brother, they're all turning against me, and I feel what I did is right, but I don't, you have to think as that character and think about that situation that she's in, and then it'll kind of come to you. Because if you just think, how can I make my voice sound sad, it's not really going to come across as authentic.
Yeah, I would say, I noticed your naturally moving voice, and those of us that have that voice, I know exactly what you mean. It's very difficult to sound solemn and sad a lot because it's naturally loud, and oftentimes you need a quieter voice. When you're getting into that mood, and
Crying for a shot.
so you know, one of the things is, as Rita said, you know, get into the mindset of the character, but also if you have a hard time, you know, that's one of the, you know, more, I would say, advanced steps of getting into acting is being able to put yourself in that place. One of the building blocks to getting to that point is think of you know, whatever emotion you need, and think of a scenario in your own life when you have had that emotion, and either reflect on it or try and replicate it again in your head. I know sometimes, you know, when I have to do sad roles and stuff, or a sad part, acting in general can be draining because of different emotions that you're going through. So sometimes you basically are making yourself, you know, go through a certain emotion that maybe naturally you didn't want to have at that point. So if you're doing something, you're doing a really depressing part, you know, and you're like in a happy mood, then you gotta make yourself like hate your life, you know. You gotta really mentally just be like, I gotta think of the saddest thing that's ever happened to me, and like you will cry, you know, but that it's genuine feelings, so you can genuinely then at that point, you know, do that part. You're not acting anymore, you know. So
if I can add to that, one of the things that is always going to be a challenge is when you're playing a character who is nothing like you, because it's easy to say, oh, well, I'm a lot like this character, so I can relate to how I would act in that situation or something. But like, you know, for example, like the character I'm cosplaying as is, she's very confident and she's very bossy and kind of mean and kind of evil sometimes, and pushes his character off a cliff, and you know, that's like, it's definitely like, I'm not a very confident person kind of thing. So it's like, you know, it's kind of like finding that, just playing pretend, kind of like when you did as a kid, and you're playing dress up or whatever, and you're being somebody that you're not. And that's part of the fun in voice acting, is you get to be those kind of characters that are not how you normally are. I love playing mean characters because I'm a very nice person IRL, but it's fun to play like, you know, Diamond TR and be like, oh, look at these blank flanks and stuff, because it's fun to have be like mocking and sarcastic and know that you're not actually doing that to a person.
Like, for example, for some sad parts now, anyway, like it's really hard for me to cry about anything unless I'm like really nervous, or it's like music accompanies it, like all that kind of stuff. But my grandmother recently passed away, and every time I think about that, like
now,
like right now even, it's like, oh my. But like feed off of that, and also get into, like, if you're getting into normal voices, whenever something comes along, try and get yourself excited for doing something different. Like, oh, I get to do something insane this time. Something like that. Or like someone that's just appropriate all the time. You know, like be excited for the next role that you're going to be doing, because that can help too. Get yourself hyped.
Ooh, and another thing, I'm sorry, I keep rambling, but another thing that one of my old acting teachers taught that I think is really, really important, and it's always kind of stayed with me, is the motivation of your character. Who are they talking to? Why are they saying it? Characters don't say something just to say it, just to fill dialogue on a page. Hopefully. They say it because they're feeling something, like they have a reason. Like, can I borrow your Rainbow Dash? I'm sorry. The one that's...
Large one?
The one that's near you?
Yeah, that's the one that's not. Okay, so like, for example, like a scene that comes to mind is when the Shadow Wolves are like, oh, just come join us, and you know, like leave your friends behind, it's okay. And you have to like, just like imagine that conflict that's going on in her head. She's like, okay, this is like my dream that I'm chasing, this is what I've always wanted, but you know, here are my friends, and like I have loyalty, like that's my own, I can't betray them, and just kind of imagine like what she's feeling. I know it's a pony, but imagine what she's like feeling and trying to put in that situation. Like, what does she feel when she's trying to do Sonic Rainboom? Like, she wants so bad to like prove she's the best. She's so competitive. She wants to like express herself. So thinking about those motivations for why she says and does what she does is just using that as an example. That's you know, think about how Twilight's always trying to prove herself to Celestia that like she's worthy of being her special student and all that.
You.
Yes.
This is directed towards you, Jay Shamrock.
Oh.
You said that you were
working with radio one time, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually a producer and host of a podcast, and I'm also a co-host on another podcast with Mean Spirit Moon. And what advice would you give to anybody who's going to take up on that venture? I know this is not really related to fan voice acting, but
Right. Well, it's still vocalized work that's very similar in a way, because you do have to have a certain timbre to your voice when you're doing that kind of stuff. As far as radio, I worked in terrestrial AM FM radio for about 3 years. And of course, I own and operate Celestia Radio, and we, it's sort of important that when you're doing anything, either podcasts can be a little bit different, because the differences between radio and podcasting, there's a few tweaks. But I would say for the most part, if you're doing a very straightforward, if you're doing a news style type thing, you're going to want to have more of that NPR to sort of basic baritone tone, timbre to the voice. Try and be business first attitude, that kind of thing. You want to be upfront. You want to be confident. That sort of take on it. Now, if you're doing something that's more of a fun, podcasty type thing, like
that's exactly what the show I'm co-hosting and what I'm doing. That's exactly what it is. It's all about fun also.
Okay. So a lot of times, honestly, it's a lot easier to sort of be yourself in those instances. You just have to. There's a couple technique type things that I would say. Try and keep focused on the topic time management. So it's not really necessarily voice acting advice, because when you're doing that kind of thing, voice acting wise, it's pretty much just yourself. You don't want to try and overemphasize different emotions or anything. You want to be yourself. You want to, you don't want people to think you're trying to act in a certain way. So when you're doing podcasting stuff, you definitely want to be just as normal as you possibly can. It's going to be more technique-y stuff, like watch your time, watch all your. So apparently. Okay.
It's too bad I silenced mine because my text ringtone is a hum.
Yeah.
Great.
I have something to add to that, but
Sure.
if you're not finished, continue.
I'm fairly
Carly finished.
Yeah.
The other thing, because this goes for podcasting, this goes for voice acting, pretty much anything you do vocally, something that will really, really help, especially if you're a beginner, help you sound so much more professional, is to learn to slow down and enunciate your words. Because when humans generally are kind of lazy when we talk. We slur our words, we don't, but when you're voice acting, people don't want to rewind and listen to what you have to say again to understand it. So it's very important that you learn to speak really clearly. A good way to practice is you can just read things to yourself out loud. You can read articles, you can read web comics, you can read Homestuck in my stream, because that's a way to test your cold reading skills, because not only do you have to cold read, but you have to read the typing quirks as well, and that trips a lot of people up. So just read out loud, get comfortable with it, even if you hated it as a kid in school, if you have to raise your hand and read something from the textbook or whatever. That's the kind of stuff that will get you more comfortable with reading the script off a page, because a lot of times in voice act, it's kind of different in the fandom because you will get the script in advance, but for pro voice acting, you don't get the script in advance. They show you in the booth and they're like, okay, here, read this. And it's really easy to mess up on the lines when you're just reading. So try to slow down, try to enunciate it all. Does anyone want to be a guinea pig?
No thanks.
I saw your hand go up first with the little Dr. Who's. But I know you're experienced in voice acting, so.
That's cheating.
Yes, but we will come back to you. Or if you have anything you'd like to add, you can come sit up here, because. Okay. You should introduce yourself, because Because I was like, whoa, hi.
I worked alongside Rena Chan, alongside Paul Dumbarat. We voiced a web series known as Doctor Who's an Assistant, and I am Kendra Gillick, voice actor of Doctor Who's.
Turnabout storms, so order in the court!
Right, about enunciating. The advice is to exactly read slowly, but not too slow.
Can I borrow this real quick?
Yes.
Okay. Guinea pig, real quick. You look shy, so you should come on up.
Good pick.
Okay, so you can do this in your normal voice. It doesn't have to be character voice. Just read like the first couple sentences from the back of this card, just in your normal voice.
Okay. Dispersing pesky thunderclouds isn't the only job this mare has cried for back. Every pony knows that. Every pony knows that whether the obstacle is snow or rain, heat of day or gloom of night, or even an army of changelings, she'll make sure your package is delivered on time.
Okay, so now that was actually not bad for a first try. Now, can you stand up and you know how to breathe properly? Like, or have you sang, or you don't know where you're supposed to breathe from?
My lungs?
How to project? Okay, so try to project so the people sitting in the very back row over there can hear you, and try to really just like enunciate your words, even if you think you sound silly or you sound like a nerd, and just like try it one more time and just really try to project your voice and try to enunciate.
Okay. Dispersing pesky thunderclouds isn't the only job this mare has tried her luck at. Every pony knows that Every pony knows that whether the obstacle is snow or rain, heat of day, gloom of night, or even an army of changelings, she'll make sure your package is delivered on time.
Okay, you already sounded 3 times better just doing that. Can everyone agree that she sounds better?
We're pretty close.
We have 5 minutes. Does anyone have any questions they're dying to ask, or would you like us to do voice requests? Because voice requests are really fun. And we have Dr. Who's and
I will say any ridiculously, basically one of my favorite things to do is to do completely deadpan radio voice. I will do any hilarious thing as well. I will say anything.
he will say anything. We've seen him drunk before. With the headphones and the cool glove thing.
Dang it!
No, you right there with the glasses. And
Me?
yes, you. Sorry.
It's just a giant arm thing, man. It's been better. When you voice act, if you're a beginner, what's the best room condition you should work in?
Living room?
Not a lot of echo from your walls, and that's hard. Like, I know I live in like a really small apartment and it's super echoey and stuff, so I put like a blanket on the wall and all this crazy stuff, and I built like this little foam box. But just try to do it somewhere that's not like a really open echoey room, because that echo is really, really hard to get rid of, and sometimes people will ask you about it.
If you listen to the audio after you record it, listen for that echo. But if everything else fails, turn down your input volume of your microphone and like hold a blanket behind you or something like that, and try not to shake it around too much. Because like, if I'm doing anything that's like, you know, really quick or something like that, because I have to move into my closet into a box. A box is a good thing too. Like, yeah, outlined in foam. Try that. But if you're doing something spot on for something quick and you don't have that set up, just hold a giant down comforter behind you. You know, that should definitely align this out.
Also, there's a mask, not headsets.
No, I was talking about your arm thing.
Oh, okay. It's a big boy.
All right, real quick. Voice request. Go, 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 go. You in the front.
I'd very much like to hear you rant about how much you love pirates in your Doctor Who voice.
Yeah, we're about pirates, swashbuckling, all these sorts of adventures, and we get to go on the high seas. And could I be the first mate? I don't know, maybe the second mate? Third? What? I have the peeled pears?
You, because we thought we were playing.
Do your best voice for a changeling. Everyone.
You could be everyone. Like changing
I'm Tara Strawn's changeling.
Whatever.
I don't know. I want you to do it because I already like this big voice. I'm listening like.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm trying to think of what a changeling would say.
Dude, do like Irish Shamrock or something. Drunk Irish Shamrock. You're all green.
Oh, Jesus, oh my God. Give me all your money, I'll take it.
In the gray shirt and back, yeah.
Emma, I'd like to hear your best pinkie pie.
Bubbleberry, please.
What?
Pinkie pie. Your pinkie pie.
I hope you want
Bubbleberry.
deadpan voice. Give me a line. Give me a line. I'll make him one up.
Why can't we get out of this fruit basket?
What? What?
I'm gonna make you the most delicious cake. Something like that. I don't know. Whatever.
I'm gonna bake you the most.
That one would you do for you.
I don't want to talk about it.
Scratch hat.
And I'd like to hear you do a big Macintosh impression.
Me?
Bruce Willis.
That'll work.
Can everyone on the panel say I'm Pretty Pony Princess?
I'll go first. I am a pretty pony princess.
I'm Pretty Pony Princess!
Fabulous, darling.
Thank you!
I am a pretty pony princess. Let's fly to the castle. I'll crush you under my hoof because you're not supposed to be pink.
I don't know about being pink, but I'm a pretty princess. I can imagine Doctor Who as an Alex.
There's a head in the back. Yes.
Shamrock, can you tell me in your best voice what happened before the Fire Nation attack? Most boisterous voice.
Huh?
In your best and most boisterous voice.
In my best. In West Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
My days until the Fire Nation is
Fire Nation attacked.
It's true.
Can I ask the doctor to try and do his most fastest Doctor Who voice, like as fast as you can go?
Okay. listen up people, and listen up fast. We're running out of time. So everyone has to get out of the door, go as fast as they can to the next panel, and before you do, please cheer on for them because they made the most awesome panel ever. And if I see any one of you never congratulate for the work they do, you've got a lot of time to answer for.
Rena, I would like to hear you do your best male like impression.
Okay.
Oh crap.
Spike, you need to stop hitting on Rarity. She's clearly not interested in you.
You haven't gone yet. Yes.
I would like to hear all of y'all's best drunken voice.
Well, I think Shamrock should go first.
Difficulty time.
He's already. I don't understand why I'm the one who's.
Come on. Please.
This is me doing that.
Come on.
Are you still?
You were doing it right.
We gotta actually.
Oh, that's on right now. It's on right now.
I have one. My go-to drunk voice is does anyone here know who Roxy Lalonde is besides obviously you?
Been a while.
Not really.
Okay, two people. Okay, well, my original headcanon voice for Roxy was Kesha, so that's kind of what I basically and just like when I do drunk Roxy, which is most of the time, it's I'm trying to think of a line, but like, you know, I really want Dirk's magnet, but he's gotta be over there being all gay with Jake and stuff, and I'm just like, that's
I swear I've heard that.
cool. I don't know, it's really lame, Jake, don't you think so?
This is me actually remembering the time I'm drunk. I think I opened the door thingy. Yeah, we'll go with that. I tell you what, I need you to take this key and insert that to open the door. And thank you.
Immediately right now. I'm guessing that's what these guys are here for.
What?
Oh, I don't know. I thought you guys were from the next panel because you looked all official.
Are there people here from the next?
I just look official normally.
That's what I do. Are there people here from the next panel?
Do we need to GTFO?
I don't know. I mean,
It says Brony stand-up comedy is supposed to be happening right now.
Vámonos!
Probably